Hello, and welcome to this reading. So, we are going to do a reading today on the weekend energies and the full moon coming up on Sunday. So, full moon in Gemini. So, I'm going to do a reading looking at both these things, talking about various different kind of events that are happening, including today, which is Friday. Today is Friday the 13th. Now, if you didn't know, Friday the 13th actually was considered to be a really lucky day until Christianity kind of came in and changed its mind about that. So Friday is known as Freya's Day, which is also known as Venus's Day, which is always true. So Friday is Venus's Day, and I always try and celebrate Venus on Fridays in some way and honor Venus. And then 13 represents the amount of menstrual cycles that women go through and over the year. So we actually generally have a 28-day cycle, which means we have 13 different menstrual periods, right? So together is actually known as the Day of the Goddess. Now, it's really interesting to me that this became something different. But if you didn't know that, today's a really nice day to celebrate femininity, to celebrate not just being a woman, but like just more that kind of divine feminine energy. So this can obviously be celebrated by men as well. So I just thought I'd say that because I really want to reclaim this day. I feel really strongly about it, and I'm really sad that so many of us grew up with this idea that Friday the 13th was unlucky, it was terrible, it was like associated with witches and witches being a negative thing rather than wise women, so it's a really a day of reclamation for me. So we have that today, which I'm very excited about, and I love divine feminine energy anyway. And then on Sunday we have the full moon in Gemini. So this is the last full moon of the year, and it's ending with it feels like a very truth-telling kind of a full moon. So what do I mean by that? Well, full moons are often about some kind of a release, right? Letting go of something. What do we not want to bring into the new cycle? And this is all still true. But with this one, it's in opposition to Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the truth teller. So it feels very like it's asking us to get very honest with ourselves about what we will not tolerate anymore. That's really kind of the energy of this particular full moon. Sorry, I was going to say new moon then. And on Sunday, speaking of miscommunications, oh my gosh, Mercury is going to be stationing direct. Hallelujah. I have felt this Mercury retrograde so hard. Like, the delays have been real. The amount of times I've done videos and it's gone wrong. I've done full videos and they're just not recorded at all. It's been insane, and like I am excited for this to be over, to be honest. However, having said that, I do think the thing that's been really interesting that I've been reflecting on is that it's frustrating because we're so used to being in a culture that always demands that we are on. But right now, everything in nature is sort of saying, like, it's time to slow down. I've been saying this for ages, and yet the conditioning runs so deep that I still wanted to carry on doing things as normal and trying to push through things and da-da-da-da. And like nature just saying, like, nah, we're not doing it. And it's really been a great opportunity through this time to truly surrender to what is, and if things aren't working out, she'd be like, okay, like just setting it down and not succumbing to this pressure to be on, to show up in the way that you normally do and like keep going even though everything else is kind of like, closing down and getting quieter, going inward. Nature is going inward. We've got Mercury in retrograde. We've got Mars in retrograde as well, which is like the planet of drive and motivation and going forth and pushing ahead, going backwards. Mercury also like creating lots of delays. And I think it's been a huge lesson in just being like, okay, like, and I don't need to feel the pressure of should around this time. But that's really shown up, I think, for a lot of us. I'd be so curious if this has been showing up for you. Let me know in the comments if you felt any guilt around this or any sort of like, yeah, I should be doing this, but I can't. And it's like, ugh, like I want to go. And I do wonder how much of it is our conditioning that makes us feel like we should be going forth, or that we actually want to go forth, but nature is saying no. I feel like it's a lot of conditioning here. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this full moon, really, of the energy, do a reading more on the full moon, which obviously happens this weekend, so it's kind of a weekend and full moon reading, if you like. So we're going to look at the full moon energies first, get some cards, see what it's saying. Oh, here we go. Yes, okay. So that's one. Let's take a big deep breath. Yeah, it's just like not resisting what is at the moment, you know, like I say, I've been trying to record videos. I got ill again twice. Honestly, that never happens to me, I swear to God. And it's just like a big fat no. And instead of fighting it, just being like, okay, I surrender. All right, energies of this full moon, please. And this first card that's come out really reflects that, actually. It's really interesting. I'll show you in a minute. Yes, love this. Okay, one more, please. But I am feeling a lot better now, just a heads up. But yeah, crazy. Honestly, I cannot tell you. It's been a crazy time. One more card, please, around this full moon in Gemini happening on Sunday. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, we do also have something winking at the bottom of the deck there, so I'll speak to that too. Okay, so first of all, we have, excuse me, Seven of Wands, Valor. Now, I often think this card is very, like, wounded soldier, right? Like someone who's like gone to battle, is pushing through. It's actually a Mars in Leo card, which is really interesting because Mars is in Leo right now, and Mars in Leo is in retrograde. And yeah, it can feel like this sort of like pushing sort of an energy. And with it being like generally the full moon energy, it's like it feels to me what I'm seeing is that some of you are just feeling just feeling a little bit tired, a bit worn out, like you've really been challenged, like you've really been pushed. And it's been, yeah, quite an intense period, really. Because then we've also got here Ace of Cups, and I often feel like this card speaks of like a need to focus on health. So this full moon feels like there's a pull around like needing to take a bit of a step back and focus on our health, which, yeah, has been very much the case for me. Now, obviously, depending on where this full moon happens for you in your chart, will highlight different areas. So what house Gemini is for you. So if you want to know that, if you know your rising sign, then you can find out which house it's happening in. So if you're a Gemini rising, then it would be on your first house, for example. So that house is the area that this is showing up for you. But yeah, with the Ace of Cups here, feels like for some of you, it's this sort of pulling focus towards like health. Some of you, it's like kind of like well-being stuff, right? But for others, it might be just like generally new starts. Like even though full moons are sort of like a culmination end, endings come with beginnings. What I'm also hearing as well, interestingly, is like if some of you have had a lot of these knockbacks, right? A lot of these challenges, like when one door closes, another one opens. And then again, like with the Ace of Cups here, I'm really sort of feeling this sense of new, fresh starts coming for you. Excuse me, I need some water. Interesting as well, actually. So Gemini is rules communication, right? The ruler of Gemini is Mercury, and Mercury is the ruler of communication. And I've been having throat issues constantly with Mercury retrograde. Again, that might be quite a specific thing to me. I am a Gemini, so this might be showing up for me more. So I'm feeling this energy a lot. But yeah, I don't know. That just felt significant to say, like, there's a real throat, like, emphasis about speaking our truth around this full moon. But really it's about being honest with ourselves, about being honest with what we're willing to tolerate. Things that you've been ignoring, things that you've not wanted to face, things that you've been sort of burying under the carpet sort of thing. Yeah, okay. So then we've also, but really nicely, we've got Six of Wands victory, and I love this. So there is some really positive energy coming through here as well around this full moon. It doesn't feel like a bad thing, but it does feel like we need to, get real with ourselves so that we can get the success that we want, is what I'm hearing here. Yeah, okay. So, how to embrace this full moon energy, please? Oh my gosh, the throat, honestly. Is this just me? Like, let me know in the comments. Like, that's what most of this illness has been sort of focused around. It's just my throat. Crazy. And I can talk. As you guys know. All right. How to embrace these energies, please. Ooh, there we go. Ooh, right. We have here Prince of Discs. Yeah, I feel like it's about getting grounded. The thing about Gemini and Sagittarius, because when you have a full moon, it's when the sun and the moon are in opposition to each other. So the sun is in Sagittarius and the moon is in Gemini, and they're kind of in this opposition. But neither of them are a particularly grounded sign. So with it being how to embrace these energies, it feels like there's some need to get grounded here if you've been feeling quite scattered. Now, I feel like this might be particularly the case because we do have Jupiter in Gemini and Mercury in Sagittarius, which are both in their detriment, because they don't do particularly well in those signs. So and with both of those, they can feel very frazzled and like, to put it a different way, the tarot cards for Mercury and Sagittarius is Eight of Wands, which can be very like quick moving, but in this kind of like nervous system, like right. And then it's Eight of Swords for Jupiter and Gemini, which is kind of this feeling of like overthinking and like not having very cohesive, clear thoughts. So if you're feeling this really scattered kind of energy, which you could well be with both of these planets in their detriment, in the signs that this full moon is happening in, right? The moon and the sun are both in Gemini and Sag. Then getting grounded is a really good way, like going for walks, feeling your feet, earthing, like putting your feet in the earth, that kind of thing. Is what it says here is way to embrace it, which makes total sense to me because I think it's very, all over the place, honestly. Okay, what not to do around this full moon? There we go. Ooh, we've got another prince here. Prince of Cups. Really, weirdly, what I'm getting here is like not losing your cool. Especially with Mars in Leo, in retrograde, can be quite fiery. And like, again, this feeling of like frustration potentially. And with full moons, they amplify our emotions. Anyway, like, so if you are feeling sort of positive emotions, then it will amplify that. But if you're feeling negative emotions, it can amplify that. So there might be like a little bit testing this one. It doesn't feel like the most comfortable full moon, if I'm completely honest. It feels confusing. It feels a little like unclear. It feels like people have really been challenged with this Seven of Wands here. Like being really pushed. So there's something about needing to cool off, and just, really nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, digging deep is what I'm seeing here as well. Like, I'm really drawn to the artwork on this card around this bird going into the water, like going into your emotions, feeling your emotions, not intellectualizing your emotions too much, because that can be very Gemini. With it being ruled by Mercury, it's kind of more in the mind rather than, the feelings space. So there's something about needing to feel feelings, but not get lost in them either, Okay. What is on the other side of this full moon, please? Ooh. Oh, I like this. Okay. So we've got 4 of discs, power. At the bottom of the deck as well, we've got success. Feels like for... sorry, I'm just going to take a drink. Right. For some of you, it feels like monetary, honestly, that if you've been wanting a new job to start, or just new money coming in, this doesn't feel like for everyone, but this is definitely what I'm getting for some of you, is this sort of like, if you get okay, this is just the message that's coming through. If you get your ducks in a row, then like and I never say that expression, by the way, so thank you for that. Then success is coming, but it feels very tangible. It feels like maybe for some of you, you've been working on something for some time and putting in the effort, right? That's what this card really speaks of, like going, like doing the hard things and like pushing and like really, putting in the graft. But now, but it feels like for some of you, it's been very much in your kind of like dream world and not seen it in physical manifestation yet. But actually, like, it feels like you're going to start seeing some tangible changes. This is a very earthy card, right? This is a Moon in Taurus card, which is very much like luxurious, Moon in Taurus is like exalted there, does really well, and it's like very kind of bougie, as I would think of it. This is a Sun in Capricorn, again, very grounded, very practical. Look at, it's very structured, right? It's got clear structure here. This card often speaks of like, material wealth, or like material gain of some descriptions. That could be money, but it feels like just things coming to fruition in a physical way. So I love this very much for us, especially if you've been feeling like, I've been wanting this for ages and it's not happening. Feels like things are starting to shift now, so I'm really happy for you. Which is also true in my world, to be honest. I'm quite happy about this guidance. Okay, so I'm going to now do some oracle cards with Jasmine. No, it is Yasmin. I always get this wrong. Yasmin Boland. I think I got it wrong once, and now I always get it wrong. Okay, Yasmin Boland. I like to use moon decks when it's a moon reading. So let's see. For some additional guidance, please, around this full moon in Gemini. Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah, that kind of corresponds with the card we've got here. I'll show you in a second. Oh, there we go. All right. One more, please. Yeah. Oh, this is really interesting. Yeah, okay. Ooh, fascinating. So we've got, these two are really interesting together. We've got new moon in Pisces. I know it's not a new moon in Pisces, but that's the card. Attuned to the divine. And then we've got last quarter moon in Virgo. Details. So I find this really interesting because Virgo and Pisces are opposite each other. So actually, it's not a full moon in Pisces or Virgo, which would be a Virgo-Pisces opposition. But there is a kind of balancing that needs to happen here with these two, because Virgo deals with the earthly realm. And you remember what I was saying there about getting your ducks in a row? That's kind of like the vibe I'm getting here. Like, if you keep putting in the groundwork, attending to details, going that little bit more, like, things are going to work out. We do have, victory here. We've got success here. So, but it doesn't quite feel like you're done yet, because we do have this Seven of Wands, which is still like keeping on going energy a little bit. So, but then also, but you know how we were talking as well about how, but it's not about just grinding and doing, it's also paying attention to your feelings and like getting into more of an emotional space, going deep. And that's very Pisces, attuned to the divine. I find that such an interesting synchronicity, that it is a balance between like doing the work, but also feeling your feelings and connecting to spirit and like staying in touch with the vision. Actually, like, Pisces is a visionary. I always think like Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. Neptune is really about our visions, our dreams, our hopes. So it's this keeping one foot on in like both realms, like in the sort of astral realm and the earthly realm, and like getting a balance between those two things. So that's really, really interesting to me. And then we've also got here, push through any insecurity, first quarter moon in Cancer. Again, there's like some sort of feeling here of like, it's not quite done yet. Full moon in Cancer, first quarter moon in Cancer is more about like believing in yourself, though. It doesn't necessarily, it's not a grindy looking card. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's blue, not red, like go. But if some of you are feeling like you're, if some of you feel like you're struggling with self-doubt, or not feeling good enough, there's a kind of feeling of like, for some of you, there's been a challenge around, am I good enough? Have I done enough? And because you've not seen things happening in your material world, it's created a sense of doubt of like, is this even working? Like, I don't know. There's a feeling around that. And what it's saying is like, just keep going, because it is coming. And it's a case of not allowing those doubts to derail you and to stop you from believing in this dream that you have. This has got really deep. This is not how I expected this reading to go, actually, but this is the message wants to come out. Because there is, again, this attuning to the divine. And I feel like this is really important to help with this, because when I tune in to the divine, I get this real sense of trust again, right? It's like not getting caught up in my mind, overthinking. Again, that could be very much the vibe of this overthinking and like getting too much in the, just like self-doubt realm. This is can be very Jupiter and Gemini can do that. So there's something about needing to like, tune into the divine, as in like meditate or like do something to connect to spirit, so that you can feel that sense of, no, everything is going according to plan, and I just need to keep trusting and keep taking steps. So that is the end of the reading. I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for watching that. And as always, if you've enjoyed it, liking, commenting, subscribing really helps the channel grow. And if you want to work with me, in the description below are the ways you can do that. So have an amazing weekend, and I will see you all soon. Mwah. Bye.